Now I want to give you a couple of ideas to take you to the end of my live stream this morning to help you sell more protection. The first one is number one, called context before critical illness. Now, as you know, with a protection package, you're looking at critical illness, income protection, and life assurance, and all the bolt-ons, etc., that go with it. So it's kind of like a package you're looking at. And good mortgage and protection advisors, they will look at all the needs that the client has, both life and health. Now, critical illness, I've talked to thousands of mortgage and financial protection advisors, is a very difficult thing to advise to clients. A lot of advisors have their own mental awareness about this, their own bias. I get all of that. But the point is that when you're discussing critical illness with a client, so a few thoughts for you. When you're discussing critical illness with a client, maybe clients actually don't know what it actually means. So you should ask them questions. Do you know what critical illness is? Let me explain it first. So let's just whiz back for that one for you so you can see that. Now, clients don't know about critical illness. It's a technical term. They maybe don't know about it. So when discussing critical illness, ask if they know anybody else who suffered from a heart attack or cancer or something like that. And then you coach the gap. And that's the point, you see, with the first technique for you. So two things to do here. First of all, if they don't know anybody, if you're discussing critical illness, maybe they don't understand it. That's the point I'm making here. Maybe they don't get it. If so, ask them if they know about it. If not, explain it to them first before you start triggering them. Then when you discuss it, ask if they know anybody else that's had a heart attack or cancer, and then you can start coaching the gap for it as well. So I think that's a really good technique to help you along the way. Now, the second idea to help you with mortgage and protection advising is to get your value proposition right up at the front end. Now, we often call it the value proposition. Sometimes we call it the elevator pitch. It's the introduction right at the beginning in the 15-minute mortgage discovery meeting, or whatever meeting you have right at the beginning, when you're talking about the client's goals, how you work, your authorization status, of course, your fee schedules. You're talking about how things work and operate. And before you start charging a fee, this is like a complimentary introductory call just to see if there's chemistry between you and the client, and you can proceed on that basis. Find out what their goal is, what they're trying to achieve, what they're trying to look for, a little bit more about them, their motivation. You want to be qualifying them as well. So there's lots to do at the front end. And the important one is what we call the value proposition. Now, to give a value proposition, it's not a regulatory introduction, the FCA thing and all that. So it's not that. You'll incorporate that in, of course you will. But this is a chance for you to explain how you work and how you operate and what you're about. And before you start crafting a value proposition, I'll give you a demonstration of one in a second, have a think about two things. First of all, what value do you actually provide the client? What is your value? What do you do for your customers? And when I ask this question to brokers, they give me all sorts of answers. Of course they do. It tends to be like, get the best deal. And I'm fed up with this phrase, deal, actually. We're using it too much. It sounds like car salesman. I'll get you the best deal. What deal have you got at the moment? I don't like it. It needs to come out of our language anyway. It's the value that we provide that matters most. And when I did some brainstorming with some brokers recently, these are the kind of values that we all have. Lots and lots of different values. We guide them along the process, sort the right loan for them, deal all the paperwork, handle all the people, explain everything. We operate on video, we hold your hands, we ensure you're fully protected, we help you budget, and we use time-saving tech. That's just like 10 pieces of value that we provide people. Now, once you get that value comfortable in your head, now you can start crafting a value proposition, because all you're doing really is you're telling them what value you provide. But the value you provide does really come down to the clients that you talk to. And hopefully you've niched your marketplace. In other words, you're working with clients that you've found a little niche that suits you. So you understand the client's needs, wants and pains. And that's the next question to ask yourself. What are your clients' pains? In other words, when they come and talk to you, why are they talking to you? What's worrying them? What do they need solving? And again, we've done some research on this as well. And we've asked brokers to tell us what their clients' pains are. And here's a few. Unusual income, they don't know where to start, they're wary of the people, they feel pressurized, they can't access lenders, they've got no time for lengthy interviews, they have no time for paperwork, they're worried about getting a bad deal. Yeah, I've used that phrase, haven't I? They're worried about the costs involved. So lots of pains clients have when they come to talk to you. And I like the ones like they're wary of the people in the process. They don't trust some of the people. They don't want lengthy interviews anymore. They can't actually access the lenders they want. They've got an unusual income, that's not, or they've got an unusual credit history, a coffee stain or something. They're worried about the costs. So there's lots of pains. So if you put that together, then you can create a value proposition. So at the end of this podcast or live stream, whatever you're listening to, I hope that you start thinking about your value proposition and maybe look at it in a slightly different way. So let me give you examples of how you might want to craft this. Because there's 4 parts to a value proposition. Number 1 is you and your role. Who are you and what's your role? Number 2 is what do you do? What's your business? What do you do? Number 3, how you help your clients. Remember, it's all about pains versus value, isn't it? And then the next steps for the meeting that you're involved in. So that's an example for you. So let me just give you a few words, how I introduce myself as a mortgage and protection advisor. And I would start off by saying, my name is Paul Archer. I'm Paul Archer. I'm an authorised mortgage and protection advisor. And keep it at that. Now, what do? Well, I help people like yourselves to finance the property that they're looking to buy or to refinance. I'm really good at helping people obtain the right finance. And what I have the ability to do is go into the market and look at every lender and get the right loan that suits your needs and wants. Now, I've got software that does that, and it's really high powered, and I'm able to get people the right finance for their loans. At the same time, I take care of everything. I deal with all the paperwork and all the people involved. But what I also like to do is to make sure that not only do you get the right finance, but you're fully protected against anything nature throws at you. Because I want you to own your house for the next 20, 25 years, or however long your mortgage term is. Now, during that period of time, nature will throw all sorts of things at you. Fire, flood, we had loads of floods recently, death of you guys, illness, these things happen. And I want to make sure that if those natural things occur, then you're fully protected, so you get to live in that house forever and look after those lovely kids that you've done. Now, I've done that for hundreds, thousands of customers. My firm has been operating for 10, 15 years, and I'm really proud of the value that we provide people. And together, you and I can do that too. Now, let me explain to you then how I'm authorised to do this, because you have to have lots of authorisation from the watchdogs, and then how I earn a living, and then we can move on to the next stage. So that's my example. So let me explain how I'm qualified and authorised to do this. Is like your Velcro to go into your FCA stuff, and your whole of market operations, that sort of thing. Whoever you're directly authorised through as well. But I kept the FCA stuff to the end of my value proposition. Of course, once you've talked about that, then of course you want to talk about them. Now let's talk a bit more about you guys and what your aims and goals are and operations. And once you know what they're looking for and whether there's chemistry and whether you can do business together, it's then that you'll introduce your fee. In other words, how you earn a living. And then you'll introduce your fee, and then you'll get agreement, and then you'll move on to the next stage in which you then start charging. So that's value proposition. It's not actually that complex, really, is it, at the end of the day? It's very, very interesting. And it brings value. So a couple of ideas to help you. Notice where I introduce the mortgage and protection side together. They're not separate. They are one. And your job is to help them find the finance to buy the house or remortgage or whatever, and then get them to stay in that place for years. That's your role, and you're very good at it too. So don't make it any surprises. I hope you enjoyed that. Bye.